are two open source programs that I know of that are very popular for open source contribution, and there are some other as well that we are going to look in this lecture. So first one is Google Summer of Code. So if you come to Google and search for Google Summer of Code, you could get an idea what is Google Summer of Code. So basically, I was also a part of Google Summer of Code in 2024 itself, and where I contributed to music lab. So if you come to my profile, I could show you that where I have developed it. Uh, so I contributor. You could look at my contribution, and I was passed where I contributed to musical ideation through generative AI. And what I did was basically I contributed to music labs, sugar labs, where my idea was or proposal was to create an ABC parser that will help them to convert the music into the music blocks code, and then you could use those things to connect with LLM and generate generative AI. So I have passed the contribution. You could look at to my contribution as well in GitHub and Sugar Labs. So what I want to show you is like what is Google Summer of Code and how you should start. So where is as Google Summer of Code, and here it's so you could timeline is always same. So it start on begins at January 22. Basically, organization submit their proposal. This starts then similar thing. Then at February 20. One list of accepted organization is published, and uh, it's from 22 March 22 February to March 18. You could start looking at those proposal, and you could directly start connecting with your organization mentors and discuss how you could contribute to it. Basically, you just dive into it and start coding out the solution for this and start connecting with the people from the organization. Once that's done, you create a proposal. That's how you gonna complete this, and you submit it. Once that's done, then you are submitted onto open GSOC, and where you contribute it for about 6 months in whole summer of thing. Now let's look at one of the other thing, that is summer of Bitcoin. And basically summer of Bitcoin is similar tools where similar to GSOC but for blockchain things. So if you know about Bitcoin or decentralization, you should apply for summer of Bitcoin. I have applied at summer of Bitcoin, and I was selected for VLS, which is virtual lightning signer, where we have learned a lot about uh, embedded device, where we have to create a STM32 device where the secret key is on that device, so that it is remote, and so that no one could attack it, and where you will learn about a lot of things. Like, so I have to learn about how the memory profiling is done. What if memory overflows? So we how do we stop this? So that's it's about summer of Bitcoin. And there is a lot of um, organization that you could contribute to. So they have this page, and you could look at the organization. So one was I know about is VLS. Then let us see what other program organization they have. So I applied at if I remember 22. So they have this VLS, Bitcoin layer, Shopstar, Zeus, Lightning node. You could look at those Lampo, Jam, and you could directly start contributing it. You might be get overwhelmed, but you know how to do contribution. You just create a ticket at issues, and you could start contributing it. So if you look at this timeline, this starts also from GSOC time period about February 1 to February 19, and then you have a learning boot camp where you like get screened, and once it's you are successfully done, you will have evaluation 2 times, and then you get referrals and you get a stipend of uh, $3,000 for in bitcoins. That's the process and how you contribute. So now you got an idea. Okay, what are open source program? I highly recommend you to go to the one of this program and start contributing it. It's very fun and it's a great idea to learn a new thing. Now let us look how your very first basic steps to contribute to open source. Now let us look at how you could contribute to open source repositories. So first, what you need to do is this is account of me from other account, and I've created some repository. And what do I need to do is first I need to create a fork. Once you create a fork that's under your name or that your organization, once it's done, what you need to do is just wait for a few seconds. When it's loaded, what you could do is you need to then create, let's open it on directly onto the code lab code space if possible. So let's say if gets open. So yeah, luckily the code space works for me. Nope, it doesn't work for me. So what I will do is I will create a clone, but you could directly create a. Let's look at how you could do a open source contribution. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to my second account, that is Abhijit Singh 0401 repository, and from this I will take a repository that is scale header files. Basically you don't want to look at this code. Basically there is a header file that includes C++ code for scale vector, I think. Yep, continuous vector for color value scale h. So basically you don't need to worry about that code. What I am going to do is, for open source contribution, first you need to create a fork. Once that fork is done, what you could do is then you could clone this and add a readme file and explain about the code. So what you could do is add a readme, and then you could add your contribution to it. This is a simple contribution where you add readme files, and then you commit changes. And what you could do is click on contribute and you create a pull request, and from my other account I could look into this pull request, and if I like the changes I could merge or reject this pull request based on the contribution. So in this lecture this was a simple one, but in real life this is lot of tough. The open source contribution is not easy. You need to look at lot of things. Now if you are looking at this video, there is Oktoberfest going on for open source contribution, Oktoberfest for Hacktober, which is famous for open source contribution. So you could go to that competition and start doing open source contribution, but you need to start. Basically whatever I tell, it's up to you. You need to start doing contribution. You start creating issues, even if it means nothing. You start trying to reach out to people that what does this repository about, how I could contribute onto it, and from someone from the community will help you out. So with this we have, in this lecture we have looked at how you could contribute to open source contribution, and we look at some open source or GitHub organization, open source organization, and some programs that will help you for open source contribution. So with this I will see you on to the next lecture. Thank you everyone.